Hi, my name is Shannon Reynosa, and today I'm going to share 3 tips to help you deal with your anxiety. Anxiety is an inevitable state that we will experience at one point or another because it's just our natural primal instinct to protect ourselves and keep us safe. That is what anxiety is. It is fear. It is us worrying about a future negative outcome. And so it's good to know and acknowledge that anxiety will never be eliminated completely. This is something that is inevitable. We will experience it at one point or another, and it is something that will come up. I think sometimes it's really easy for us to set this unrealistic expectation that we'll never feel icky feelings, we'll never feel stressed out or feel bad, but that is just an unrealistic expectation. We are all imperfect human beings, and we will feel stressed and worried at one point or another. When it becomes an issue is if you find yourself getting stuck in this vicious loop of anxiety where you feel paralyzed and you cannot move forward. You're not taking any effective actions towards your goals because you're stuck in this vicious cycle of anxiety. That is when it becomes a problem, because not only are you not taking any effective actions, when you're in this state, you are focusing on a negative outcome that may occur, and anything we focus on becomes magnified, and that is what we will get in our reality. And so it becomes hindering because it will prevent you from being able to see any possible positive outcomes because you're so laser focused on a negative outcome that you're closed off to receiving any possible opportunities that are available to you. And so that is why it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're finding yourself getting stuck in this state of anxiety, you will only see the possible negative outcomes in your reality. You'll continue to prove to yourself why your fear is valid, because you're saying, well, see, I told you so, this wasn't going to work out, and it keeps you stuck in this vicious self-fulfilling prophecy of anxiety where if you are pulled out of the anxiety, if you're able to recognize that you're feeling anxious and get yourself to come out of it and see that there are also possible awesome outcomes for you that are available to you, now you are going to focus on the positive outcomes that are available to you in your reality. And that is what you are going to create for yourself. And so that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so it's good to know, I want to really make clear in this video that anxiety is never going away completely. Anxiety is a natural state that we will experience as imperfect human beings. However, I'm going to share with you 3 tips today that can help you to deal with your anxiety so that it is not crippling you and preventing you from moving forward. So these are just 3 simple tips that you can use when anxiety arises in the future so that you can pull yourself out of it and start to take effective actions towards your goals. Tip number 1 is to practice deep breathing. Deep breathing is such an effective yet simple exercise that you can do, and it's free. So if you inhale through your nose and you imagine that you're filling your belly with a bunch of air like a big balloon, and then you hold your breath for 4 times as long as you inhaled, and then you exhale and you flatten your stomach and you're creating as much space as possible for that next big breath, and you want to exhale twice as long as you inhaled. This is really going to allow you to become more centered and present, because remember, when we are in a state of anxiety, we are not present. We are living in the future. We are thinking about all of the possible outcomes and how things might not work out and how we ultimately might not be safe. Remember, that's our primal instinct to protect us and keep us safe. So this deep breathing exercise will bring you back to the present and allow you to choose from the best version of yourself and bring you back to reality. And so let's just practice a few so you can get an idea of what that feels like for you. When you start to take deep breaths, it really does bring you back to center. So inhale through your nose, and just for purposes of the counts, let's say inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold your breath for 16, and then exhale for 8. So inhale through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now exhale through your mouth, flattening your stomach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then do it again. Inhale through your nose, imagining you're filling it up like a big balloon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now exhale through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, do you feel different? Just from those couple of breaths, you are already probably experiencing a change in your state. And that's because when you are breathing in and breathing out deeply like this, you are actually detoxing your body and you are recentering yourself. This is the same reason why in yoga you breathe very deeply. It helps with any pain you might be experiencing. This is, by the way, why a lot of people smoke, because they are breathing in deeply and it relaxes them. So use this natural gift that we've been given as human beings to your advantage. I recommend doing this 10 times, a few times a day. This also helps, by the way, with increasing your energy and just boosting your overall immunity. It's a great, simple technique that you can turn to if you are in the middle of a conflict and you're feeling yourself going into that fight or flight mode. Deep breathing will take you back to the center and allow you to choose how you want to respond from the best version of yourself versus just reacting from emotion. Tip number 2 is to interrupt your pattern. We want to essentially run a scratch through the record that's playing, your anxiety record that is playing. We want to interrupt that pattern so that it can't play the same anymore and pull you out of it. And one way you can do that is throw yourself in a cold shower. That is a quick way to change your state. Any state that you're in that you want to get out of, throw yourself in an ice cold shower and see if you're still thinking about what you're thinking about. Really simple way to interrupt that pattern that you're in. Another easy way to interrupt your pattern is to change your environment. Get outside and allow yourself to experience your environment. Take a walk around the block and become aware of your surroundings. Get curious about things, exploring your 5 senses. How does this tree that I'm looking at, maybe how does it smell? What does it feel like? Become really curious about your environment. This is another great way to bring yourself back to the present moment, which is going to take you out of the state of anxiety, which again is living in the future. We're always wanting to constantly work towards bringing ourselves back to the present moment, which is going to allow us to respond from the best version of ourselves. And lastly, you want to dissociate from yourself, which is the process of psychologically separating yourself from yourself to ground yourself in reality. So anytime you're finding yourself in a heightened state of stress, you want to close your eyes and imagine yourself leaving your body and going as far as you need to be able to look at yourself from a distance. This is going to allow you to get a more objective point of view on the situation that you're in. Sometimes things are just too close to us for us to be able to see things objectively. And this, by the way, is the same reason why if a friend comes to you for advice, they're going through something, you are able to give them the greatest advice ever, but when you're going through it, all of a sudden you're finding yourself stuck in this fog. Well, it's because you're just too close to it. This is a great way to pull yourself away from the situation and be able to reevaluate it from a distance. And then look at it and see, is there something that I can learn from this situation? Is there something that I can change about the way that I am approaching the situation? Maybe your perception is off. Maybe it's not serving you. And this is an opportunity to change it and practice changing your perception in this type of situation. Then it gets a little more weird from here. You want to take yourself out of that dissociated position and remove yourself from that dissociated position and look at yourself looking at yourself. So now there should be 3 of you. And at this point, it might just be funny, you know, looking at yourself. And by the way, that's another great way to interrupt your pattern, is to just laugh at yourself and, you know, laugh at the situation. Sometimes we say, one day we're gonna laugh about this. Well, why not laugh about it right now? Find something funny about it. But if you can look at yourself looking at yourself, you can really get a more grounded perspective on the situation. And this is going to pull you out of that fight or flight mode and allow you to really see the situation from a more objective point of view. I've used this technique, by the way, plenty of times when I've gotten into arguments in the past with my significant other, and I found myself in this heightened state of stress and frustration, and I pulled myself out of myself in my mind. I closed my eyes, really pictured myself leaving my body and looking at myself from a distance and reevaluating the situation from that point of view to see, what can I change? You know, there's usually something that we can change that is contributing to the problem that we're experiencing. And it's usually going to come down to our approach and our perception. So try these 3 tips out. Let me know your takeaways, and have an amazing week.